Good day to everyone and Madam Jasmina. My name is Nurul Fatihah binti Hazani and I will be presenting the introduction and overview of our listening activity. So the title of our listening activity is Listen and Stations Race. As the name suggests, this activity combines listening comprehension with movement and teamwork, making the learning process more interactive and engaging for the participants. Next, the main language skill assessed in this activity is listening. Listening is an essential skill in language learning because it allows learner to understand spoken information, identify key details, and interpret meaning from audio input. In real-life situations, effective listening helps students follow instruction, understand stories, and respond appropriately in conversations. Therefore, this activity is designed to strengthen students' ability to listen carefully, recognize sounds, and understand spoken narratives in a fun and low-pressure environment. We move on. Now, I will briefly explain the concept of the activity. The Listen and Stations Race is a station-based listening activity with a camping theme. At the beginning of the activity, students listen to a short camping story that is read aloud by the facilitator. This story introduces important events and sounds related to camping, such as natural sounds and actions that occur during the trip. After listening to the story, students move through 3 different stations placed around the room. At each station, they listen to an audio clip related to camping. These audio clips include various sounds, for example, sounds from nature or activities that happen during camping. Based on what they hear, students are required to identify the sound and match it with the correct event from the story. When they successfully complete the task at each station, they collect picture cards that represent important parts of the story. After that, once all stations are complete, students return to their tables and work together in their groups. Using the picture cards they have collected, they arrange the cards in the correct chronological order to recreate the story they listened to earlier. This final step allows students to demonstrate their understanding of the overall story sequence and key details from the listening input. So, lastly, overall, this activity encourage active listening, teamwork, and critical thinking. By combining movement, audio input, and visual support, the Listen and Stations Race makes listening practice more engaging and meaningful for learners. It also allows facilitators to assess students' listening comprehension in an interactive and practical way. So that concludes the introduction and overview of our listening activity. Thank you for listening. So now I pass on to the next presenter.
Hello everyone. I will be explaining the learning objective, the materials needed, and the station setup for our activity titled Listen and Stations Race. There are 3 main objectives for this listening activity. Firstly, by the end of the activity, students will be able to identify and name at least 3 different camping-related sounds, such as footsteps, fire cracking, birds chirping, or insect sounds. These sounds will be presented through audio clips at each listening station, and students are expected to recognize them accurately within a limited time. Secondly, students will be able to interpret the meaning of the sounds by hear and relate them to specific events in the camping story. This objective focuses on listening for details and understanding context. Student will demonstrate the skill by choosing 6 correct picture cards that match the events described or implied by the students. Thirdly, student will be able to arrange the 6 selected picture cards into a logical and coherent sequence, reflecting the correct order of event in camping story. This objective assesses a student's ability to process information, remember key details, and organize ideas based on what they have listened to. Okay, overall, this learning objective aim to develop students' listening, comprehension, attention to detail, memory, and logical sequences, while also encouraging collaboration and communication among group members. So next, as for the materials, several materials are required to ensure the activity runs smoothly and effectively. First, set of sequential picture cards and prepared for each group. These cards illustrate important moments from the camping story, such as arriving at the campsite, setting up the tent, cooking over a campfire, and packing up to go home. Second, audio materials are essential for this activity. These include a recorded camping story and natural sounds effect, which are played using a speaker. In addition to the audio clips are the stations, students will also listen to the teacher reading a section of a camping story aloud at the beginning of the activity. This helps students to understand the storyline before they move on the listening task. So the third station labels are placed at each stations to clearly indicate where students should go during the rotations. So these labels help maintain organization and smooth movement between two stations. Next, tables and desk are arranged to allow students to work comfortably in a group during the final sequencing task. Furthermore, an answer key is prepared for the facilitators to check students' responses, and assessment rubrics are used to evaluate students' listening skills, to also sequence accuracy, collaboration, and task completion. So the classroom is organized into 3 listening stations, designed to focus on different camping-related sounds. At each station, students listen carefully to an audio clip played by the facilitator or teacher. After listening, students are required to identify the sound and discuss it briefly with their group members, and then collect the picture card and that best matches that part of the camping story. Also, students rotate through all 3 stations until they have collected a total of 6 picture cards, 2 each stations, and once all stations are completed, students return to their tables and collaborate as a group to arrange the picture cards in the correct chronological order. So finally, this station-based setups encourages active participation, movement, teamwork, and focused listening, making the learning experience more engaging and enjoyable for students. So in conclusion, the objective, materials, and station setup of these activities are carefully designed to support meaningful listening practice, improve students' comprehension skills, and promote cooperative learning in a fun and interactive way. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Good afternoon, my name is teacher Ishanas. Today we will be carrying out an activity that focuses on listening skills through sound-based tasks. Please listen carefully to the instructions before we begin. First, the facilitators have prepared 3 stations around the room. Each station contains an audio challenge and a set of picture cards related to the story you will hear. You will notice that each station focuses on different sounds connected to a camping experience. Next, you will be divided into 3 groups. Each group will work together throughout the activity. So, cooperation and discussion are very much important. Before moving to the stations, all participants will first listen to a camping story that will be read aloud by the facilitator. Please pay close attention to the sounds and events in the story, as they will help you later during the station task. After listening to the story, each group will rotate through the 3 stations. At every station, you are required to listen carefully to the audio provided by and identify the sounds related to camping. Based on the sounds you hear, your group must select the correct picture cards that best match those sounds. Please make sure all group members participate in the discussion. Once your group has completed all 3 stations, you will return to your seats. At this stage, your group will work together to organize the 6 picture cards you have collected into the correct sequence of the camping story. Finally, the facilitators will check each group's pictures, sequence, provide feedback, and announce the groups that have successfully matched the sounds and arrange the story in the correct order. If you have any questions, please ask now. Otherwise, let us begin the activity. Thank you and good luck. Now, everyone is required to listen to the audio carefully. Last weekend, my friends and I went camping in the forest. When we arrived at the campsite, we unpacked our bags and started setting up our tent. After that, we walked around the forest to collect firewood. We could hear birds chirping and the river flowing nearby. Later in the evening, we cooked our dinner over the campfire. The fire crackled loudly while we talked and laughed. At night, we sat together and listened to the sound of insects while telling stories. The next morning, we packed up our things and prepared to go home.
Hi everyone, and for this section, I will be explaining how students are assessed in our listening activity as well as the expected learning outcome. First, I will talk about the assessment method used in this activity. Our listening activity is assessed using a performance-based rubric which focuses on students' listening comprehension and also their ability to interpret spoken information. The assessment is carried out throughout their activity while students move through the listening stations and complete the final sequencing task. There are 5 main criteria in the rubric. The first criterion is sound recognition, which carries 25%. Here, students are assessed on their ability to correctly recognize and identifying camping-related sounds such as footsteps, birds chirping, fire crackling, or insects. This allow us to evaluate how well students can focus on audio input and distinguish specific sounds from a listening text. The second criterion is sounds picture matching, also with 25%. In this part, students need to select the correct pictures card that match the sounds they hear at each station. This assesses their ability to connect what they hear with visual information, which is an important listening comprehension skills. Next is story sequencing, which carry another 25%. So after completing all stations, students must arrange the 6 pictures card in the correct chronological order based on the camping story they listened to earlier. This helps assess their understanding of the overall story structure, memory, and ability to organize information logically. And the fourth criterion is collaboration and participation, wave at 50%. Since this is a group-based activity, students are observed on how well they communicate, share ideas, and make decisions together. This includes active participation, respectful discussion, and teamwork during both the station activities and the final sequencing tasks. Also, for the final criterion is task completion. It is worth 10%. This focuses on whether students are able to complete all stations and the final sequencing activity within the given time. It also looks at how well they follow instruction and manage their time during the activity. Overall, this rubric ensures that students are assessed not only in listening accuracy, but also on comprehension, teamwork, and task management. Now, I will move on to the expected learning outcome of this learning activity. By the end of the listens and stations race, students are expected to show improved listening comprehension skills. They should be able to identify important details from the camping story and also recognize different natural sounds accurately. Students are also expected to demonstrate better information processing and sequencing skills. By arranging the picture cards in the correct order, they show their ability to understand the flow of events and organize information based on what they have heard. In addition, this activity helps students develop focus and attention while listening, as they need to carefully listen to audio clips at each station in order to complete the task correctly. Another important outcome is the improvement of communication and collaboration skills. As students work in group, they learn to discuss their ideas, support each other, and make joint decisions. This reflects a real-life listening situation where understandings often happens through interaction with others. So finally, the activity aims to make listening more engaging and enjoyable. Through movement, station rotation, and teamwork, students experience listening as an active process rather than a passive one. This increases motivation and confidence in listening tasks. To conclude, the assessment and expected outcome of this activity are aligned to ensure that students not only listen accurately but also understand, interpret, and apply what they hear in a meaningful and collaborative way. That's all for my part. Thank you.